Welcome back to part 11 of Devil May Cry 3, where we'll be reaching, finally, the top of the tower. We've only got one more boss and a secret mission blocking our way from the peak. Oh, and a few more missions, because we're on mission 17, and the game finishes on 20, so we've still got a little bit to go. On the right here, there's a crack in the wall that leads to an optional room, and it is completely optional, because it doesn't even get you a blue orb fragment. If you remember the Trial of the Warrior room, where you had to flick on the switches, obviously the enemies were in Devil Trigger, and you couldn't stun them easily at all. It's that room, but this time if you do it, you get a reward, but like I said, it's not a blue orb fragment. I think it's either a holy water or something like that, which on later difficulties is not worth it at all. It might be a yellow orb actually, I can't remember. Soon find out. And I haven't practiced this room at all, which is a bit, because I wasn't sure if I was going to bother to do it, but because I usually don't. After the initial playthrough, like when you do it for the sake of doing it, you should never really come back to it. You have no reason to. Especially because any item it gives you are more often than not worth it on later difficulties, so it's only really worth doing the first time to show it's there. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a nice Christmas. I hope you guys are gonna have a good New Year tomorrow, because I am recording this live the day it's coming out, which is rare for me for a live recording. I usually stockpile them, but okay, that's gonna screw me over. Yeah, that hook there is just gonna keep on screwing me. I need to move away from the spike. And it's going to be extra annoying because dealing with this guy when he's got the extra invincibility of Devil Trigger, yeah. I hope you guys are looking forward to 2019 tomorrow. Assuming people are actually looking forward to 2019 and not just looking forward to see 2018 go away. Also, this is where the Hell Vanguards are going to trigger several times in a row now. And they're also pricks that will do it every chance they get. Because it took us all that time to flick the other switch just in time for the other switch to go out. Ow. And by the time it's done with this, the other switch is going to go off again, so it takes a fucking eternity. You can do this the slow way and just ignore the switch and just keep on doing this. Because the Vanguard's one of the easiest enemies in the game to jump cancel off. It's just it takes a very long time because the Devil Trigger boost gives it so much goddamn health. I'm pretty sure it has more health than actual DT mode. Just because they want to emphasize flicking the switches. Ah, come on, come back down. If it wasn't in Devil Trigger, it would be long dead by now. That kick sweep there would have done most of its health. Oh yeah, I brought Kalina Ann with me for this mission. I went to shoot it with Spiral and then realised I equipped Kalina Ann before I started recording. Like, I completely forgot I had it. Come on, there we go. Stupid thing. And our trouble is the gold orb, so it's really not worth it. Especially if you're a long-time Devil May Cry player and you know that you just don't use the yellow gold orbs. If you die, you reset the mission. I think the only time I'll let that slide is if I get stuck on a point in 5, because for the first time in a decade, there's a new Devil May Cry, where that might be a concern. This room sucks, by the way. So this version of it's not too bad, but there's a version a little later on that really sucks. I've never been a fan of this. Platforming in Devil May Cry doesn't work. But there is a few things to get here. There's that red crystal, and there's a Beowulf combat Orgicator in the background. So get your extra red orbs, and then work on that Orgicator. That Orgicator, I missed so many times, so I had to sort of remind myself. I was like, okay, yeah, it's definitely there. It's definitely in that corner. Because it's just very easy to slip out your mind concentrating on the puzzle. But it's just tucked away over here. It's not too bad because the Beowulf has quite a combo collection on it, even without Swordmaster. You just gotta be careful not to do the same pattern loop. Even if it's different attacks, it can't be the same like combination, otherwise it won't count it. I think it's gonna be a triple S, so looking at the fact there's 2 more flames still. It doesn't say it doesn't want to count the fist because it's in the pattern. You got to do that first. Oh, nearly there, come on. I had to say out loud that this one's easy. Oh, come on, this hopefully will be enough. We're quite... Ah! Still not there. Like we're so close, it's so far, come on. Okay, maybe bring Swordmaster with you, just to give yourself an easier time with this. There we go, hey. That took a lot longer than it should have. But, time for the other thing that'll probably take longer than it should have, this bloody climb. Well, I say that, this one's not too bad, it's the next one that's a pain in the dick. This one's just letting you know that there's going to be a platforming puzzle in a game not built for platforming. That's the one criticism I have with DMC3, one of the bigger ones. Still from Devil May Cry 1, the jumping sucks. They've never got better with it. Hopefully 5 will finally make a challenge with that. But the jumping and the arc and how it works has just never been as free as it should be. I think it's the nicest way to put it. I want to deal with these archer pricks first, and then I can have fun with the Vanguard. Oh, there's more of you. I didn't even spot you. Yeah, no, fuck off. Come on. That's what I hate about these guys when they get later on. Look how determined he is to get away from me. He's still doing the animation. The only reason he's letting me hit him is because he's got his back against the wall. But he won't stop doing that. You have to back him into a corner, because otherwise he'll just keep on jigging and being a prick. I don't know why even more showed up. Like, I know, for fuck's sake, I don't like them. They're such a shit enemy. There's a way of doing ranged enemy. That's not it. They just suck. Oh, we got a style level up. Whoop-de-doo. We can now air block and air release and get to charge level 2. There we go. That's what it should be. Like, over half its health just gone. There we go. I wonder if the green orb's still on the axe on the wall if you break it in half. That's nice that they keep that there. If you're wondering why we're going this far out on what's the wrong route, it's because there's a fragment right here. And that's it. That entire section we did, the Vanguard fight and whatnot, is entirely optional. Which is why it's such a dickish room that has 2 Vanguards in there for no real reason. Because it's just for a fragment. And there's nothing else out here, so let's go back. So we continue our climb, because this was only the middle door. There's an upper floor, a middle floor, and a bottom floor. Just try not to fall to the bottom floor when you're at the top floor, because it happens way too easily. And trust me, it is as frustrating as you think it is. There we go. We can't spin the camera to really look back at it, because the camera angle is a bit janky. And over here, you're a sicker jester. Somehow, Arkham is at the top of the tower, preparing his ritual, and is here at the same time. It's almost like this is a Director's Cut exclusive boss fight. That was only added for the special edition. But it's the last time you have to fight Jester like this, thankfully. And it's why all the battle lines are lines that are used in cutscenes in the game. But there's no like exclusive lines for this. Oh, I forgot the cleaner end has like no range. It's not like the good old grenade launcher. It doesn't travel the whole screen. Barely travels at all, really. Ow. I was trying to see if I could try and royal guard any of these. But thankfully it's the last time you get to fight him. But the second and third fight are optional, so it's up to you really if you want to do them. It's only the first one that's required. The only thing that's really in for it on the HD collection is the trophy / achievement for doing so. And the extra red orbs if you care about that. Which at this late in the game, you should be relatively set up with what you want. The only thing you might be missing is a full DT. But we'll get that soon anyway. Hey, so you can roll guard then. That was all I really wanted to try. Because we brought roll guard again to try and learn it a bit more. Ah. Oh god, this one can be annoying to avoid. With this attack, always try and go to the opposite end of the screen so you have the most amount of time to react to it. And obviously you'll bring out the dumb bull. Which now the bull makes sense because it's a different coloured eyes, half of it's damaged, it's a representation of Arkham. And just like before, when he looks like he's having the most intense shit of his life, he's going to summon hands out the ground. And if he's laughing at you, he's going to start like filling his mouth full of explosives and shooting them at you. So I'm just jumping into spamming guard, and I'm quite happy that I managed to catch 2 guards out of it. Like 2 free blocks I can throw at him. I think you can do an air release, which would be handy. Oh, I didn't do anywhere near as much damage, but it was only a level 1 charge. Come on, please be enough. Hey, there we go. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. Just like I said in the second fight, if you're quick enough and on the ball enough, you can kill him before he gets a chance to summon the bull. Which will play out the old animation instead. I'm aware we're playing on hard, so this, what we're about to do next might be a bit precarious. Well, after this room, which is just more of these guys, and I think I want to say a couple more enemies, but it might just be these guys. But they're easy enough to deal with. We've dealt with them a lot before now. There we go. Any more? No, that's it. This way. And it just takes us into the trial of skills. So we go through all the trial rooms. Well, one of them's optional, but the other 2 you have to go through. And these ones come at you a lot quicker, so it's a bit harder to get the timing for. Ow. Ow. Oh, you know what? I'll be back. I'll swap the Trickster just to get this done. I'm not going to reset the mission over this. It's just I need to go get Trickster. With Trickster, you have more invincibility frames. So you just got to time it and go. Ow, fuck. The only thing... and if I'll prove it, because I remembered, like, there's a secret mission later on. And the secret mission is doing a much harder version of this. I'll prove it when I get to it. I'm more familiar with the DMD timing of it, because on Dante Must Die difficulty, it comes at you at its fastest. Whatever difficulty you're on determines the speed of that trial. In fact, it's right here, I believe. Yeah, it's the statue that's glowing a bit brighter than the rest. One of the most awkward and unlikely ones you'll find. Like, all of them are ones that you could find. This one's the only one that you have to kind of just know it's there when you can eventually fucking get up there. There we go. See, it's just, there we go. Now this one is on DMD timing, and I'll prove to you right now I'm not going to get hit for the whole stretch, because I am much more comfortable with DMD timing, despite the fact that's devilishly fast. So I'm just not going to get hit. See? Despite being faster, I've dealt with D&D timings on it a lot longer than I have any other difficulty. So all the rest just throw me out my loop slightly and I end up getting bocked every so often. Anyway, new enemies. They get their proper introduction a little later on, but for some reason they're thrown in here. And it's not a difficulty thing. They're just here for some reason. but they'll actually get an actual introduction and not till mission 19. So it's kind of odd. Like, I get why they put these enemies in earlier. It's because otherwise you only have one mission with these enemies, which is a little bit like, what was the point? But it's still a bit odd that they don't get any kind of proper introduction cutscene here. They're just thrown at you, but then they get their introduction cutscene in 19, like they were always intended to be there first, and then just later on they decide to move it here. They're saying that I haven't played Base 3 in a long time. Maybe they like that in Base 3, and it's just something that changed in Special Edition. To be fair, I haven't played Base 3 in a very long time. There's just been no reason to. It's kind of like the difference between Persona 3 and 3 Fez. Like, once you've got Fez, there's really no point to play Persona 3. Because it's just Fez with less content. It's just the normal 3. Fez is just the director's cut almost, and that's the same deal here. Like, there's really no reason other than nostalgic care, or just to say as an origin point for you to get Base 3. But either way, we're finally at a point at the tower where the rooms actually link up properly again, instead of just taking us from one random place to the next. And when you get up here, as we head towards the top, you'll notice there's one final barricade. One weirdly placed shadow vortex that's just kinda here. Which introduces our next boss.
I know why you're here. You're here to ask me some questions. Well, too bad. I've already answered them myself. I don't need you anymore. Come on, poser.
Doppelganger is kind of a gimmicky fight, but it's not too bad. You can only be hurt in the light. So you gotta flick these things around the wall to turn the light on. The ideal situation is to bait the attack so it lines up, so when he gets to you, just as it breaks, so then you can get some free damage out of it. But your ultimate goal, and the only way you're really gonna do this on later difficulties, is you need all the lights on. Because then the center stage stays on, and it stays on for a while, so you can make the most of attacking the doppelganger. But get out of the way when the light goes off. Well, he's about to turn the lights off. If you stand in a patch of the light whilst he's in the middle, instead of attacking by charging at you, he will instead shoot a light ball, and the animation for it is a reference to DMC1. It's when you use Ifrit and you go to charge up the fireball. Because you can launch fireballs in that game if you got it sorted out. It's the same animation, like down to a T. It's a nice little animation reference, similar to how Virgil changed weapon by punching the ground. The exact same animation to how the player could change to Ifrit in 1. The doppelganger's got less health than a lot of the bosses. Probably because it's a gimmicky fight, but it doesn't have as much health, so don't be surprised if you rip through it quite quickly. But that's it really. It's a very gimmicky, but once you know what to do, you know what to do kind of fight. Just keep on baiting it in like that, and you can keep them kind of locked in this pattern. On harder difficulties, it's not as commonplace and as effective to keep on doing this, but as it stands right now, there's nothing stopping you. And he's already dead.
Thought I lost my shadow for a sec.
we've now got a 6th and final style, the doppelganger style, which does exactly what it says on the tin. You get a second version of you that copies your movement, and you can make it line up or make it slightly different. Oh, by the way, we got tricks to level 2, cool. We can now dash in the sky, which is what makes that special orb from much earlier far easier to do, and we can double dash on the ground. Since we're not going to get it to level 3 because it's way too late in the game, level 3 allows you to teleport straight in front of your enemies' faces, which is a brilliant move to use. But that being said, next time on Devil May Cry 3, we're going to, now we're at the top, enter hell and pursue Arkham in hell, finally in new locations. They're just repeating the tower again. But until then, you guys take care now.